What is the etymology and correct usage of the phrase, for the good of the order? Sometimes I hear this phrase at the end of the meeting, as in, anything else for the good of the order? The context implies that it means, does anyone else have something to say? But I wonder what the origin of the phrase is, and if there is any meaning beyond what I am inferring. I would have just intuitively guessed that the order was referring to a sort of Masonic Knights Templar sort of order. But when researching this myself, I came across this link which suggests it derives from parliamentary procedure. I also found this, which suggests it's a way of asking for off-topic, general conversation, topics to be raised. Can anyone here speak more authoritatively on the origin and correct usage of this term?
The phrasing will be familiar to those who participate in deliberative bodies which follow any of the many editions of Robert's Rules of Order, a system for parliamentary procedure, so-called because it is descended from the rules of conducting debate that originated in parliamentary government. Robert's Rules are by leaps and bounds the most popular authority for parliamentary procedure in the United States, to the point where most people have heard of them, yet even experienced chairs may be unfamiliar with competitors like the Sturgis Standard, used by some academic bodies, or Demeter's Manual, adopted by some fraternal and labor organizations. A criticism of Robert's Rules is its use of old-fashioned or legalistic terminology, such as making a motion to previous question as opposed to close debate, or to order the yeas and nays instead of call for a voice vote. In my opinion, a call for the good of the order would qualify as well. In any case, parliamentary manuals will have a set of rules for the order of business in a meeting, typically starting with a call to order, attendance, approval of minutes from the previous meeting, reports, and regular business. Then, the 11th edition says, Chair may optionally call for good of the order, general good and welfare, or open forum. This heading, included by some types of societies in their order of business, refers to the general welfare of the organization, and may vary in character. Under this heading, in contrast to the general parliamentary rule that allows discussion only with reference to a pending motion, members who obtain the floor commonly are permitted to offer informal observations regarding the work of the organization, the public reputation of the society or its membership, or the like. Certain types of announcements may tend to fall here. Although the good of the order often involves no business or motions, the practice of some organizations would place motions or resolutions relating to formal disciplinary procedures for offenses outside a meeting, Section 63, at this point. It is described thusly in Webster's New World Robert's Rules of Order simplified and applied. Some organizations take time right before adjournment for the good of the order. This segment allows members to give suggestions for improvement or to give compliments concerning the work of the organization. Usually business is not brought up during this portion of the meeting. Any ideas for new business that come from this segment are brought up at another meeting. However, if something urgent is brought to the attention of the members, a member can present it as a main motion during this segment. Until someone moves to adjourn the meeting, members can bring forward business. In other words, this is the section of the meeting where people can bring up news or topics of general interest that are not on the main agenda for discussion. You don't need a full agenda item to say thanks for giving me a ride home after last month's meeting. I have seen it on some boards as a period for open discussion offering praise or criticism of officers or projects, and in others as the time to plug pet projects or ask for personal favors. The phrasing is not found in the earliest editions of Robert's Rules, and may have been adopted from Freemasonry, where it appears in some rituals and oaths, but is also found in casual use to refer to praise someone's contributions to the society, good in the simple sense of something beneficial, and order thus referring originally to the Freemasons. The alternative good and welfare is also found in Masonic texts, but is also something of a fixed binomial expression found in legal and other non-Masonic contexts. In the modern day, order can also be read to mean the order of the day, in the narrow sense the daily agenda, or the broader sense of the proper disposition of things and the smooth functioning of the organization. You can also read it as order meaning organization, as that term can loosely be applied to any organized group or class without any connection to fraternal or religious groups. The more modern term might be open forum.
Contemporary use of the question anything else for the good of the order, as a set request for additional discussion prefacing the end of formal or semi-formal meetings, grew out of early literal uses of what became a set phrase, for the good of the order. In the 1700s, for example, uses of the phrase "for the good of the order" referred to the good of religious and military orders, such as the Order of St. Francis, or the Order of Knights of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, also known as the Order of St. John, the Order of Hospitallers, Knights Hospitaller, Knights Hospitalier, the Hospitallers, or later the Knights of Malta, etc. 3 uses in the 1618 The Chronicle and Institution of the Order of the Seraphical Father St. Francis refer to various benefits for his religious, the monks in the Order of St. Francis. 1. The necessity of choosing a cardinal of the Catholic Church for the benefit of his order. Such was the intention of St. Francis, to subject his religious unto the Catholic Church, ordaining that they should always choose a cardinal of it for their protector, as a thing that he knew to be necessary for the good of the order. Opposite. 2. What God dictated to him, St. Francis, for the benefit of his order on the subject of possessing only one habit with cord and linen breeches. The Holy Father answered him, "No, brother, that such was my first intention and shall be my last, if all the religious would believe me, that none of them possess any other thing than one habit, with the cord and linen breeches, as the rule permitteth." Therefore to them that afterward affirmed that the Holy Father St. Francis caused not the same to be observed in his time, his companions answered that among many words which the used to his religious, and caused to be written according as fro day to day God did dictate unto him in his prayers and revelations for the good of the order, he divers times said, that he supported many things by reason of the scandal which might hap, between his religious and himself in the beginning of the order. Opposite. 3. The mistake of the Pope in appointing Brother Helius to be religious general over the order. Brother Helius then answered St. Anthony, that he had lead, whereat the Pope, who was well informed of the truth of his life, did much admire, and would no further testimony against him, than this his proud answer, which made clear the rest, and therefore having commanded silence to all, with tears in his eyes, he uttered these words, I resolved to make this religious general. I thought it would have been for the good of the order, but alas I experience the contrary, and see that he is a disturber and ruiner thereof. Opposite. Referring to the Hospitallers, a use in the life of the renowned Peter d'Aubusson, Grand Master of Rhodes, appears in 1689. The Grand Master, observing this Grecian fickleness, told them in friendly manner that the resolutions he had taken were resolved upon mature deliberation, which consultations were to be kept secret that they might not come to the enemy's knowledge, and that it was more for their safety than for the good of the order, that they made any conditions at all. Although a bit difficult to unravel, however, the precedent for formulaic use of the phrase was set much earlier, in 1256, as shown by extracts from the following formal document reproduced in 1723 in the history of the Antient abbeys, monasteries, hospitals, cathedral and collegiate churches. Those friars aspiring to learning, much industry was asked to procure them a dwelling at Oxford. At length, at the request of Henry Hanna, provincial of the order, they obtained an habitation in Sockwell Street, in the suburbs of Oxford, anno 1254. I will subjoin a certain instrument, by which, besides other particulars worth knowing, it will appear who gave that habitation to the Carmelite friars. To all the faithful of Christ, to whom these presents shall come, I do fully empower our beloved brother John Raff, priest, the bearer hereof, in our stead, to receive and inhabit that place, according to wholesome obedience, and to compound and transact with all those who shall claim any right within or without the same, or to dispose of the same place, as shall appear expedient, according taught he Lord, as well in spirituals, as temporals, without any exception, obliging myself to ratify, and agree to whatsoever, and in the presence of whomsoever he shall do, in relation to that place and form, and for the good of the order in the premises, and I, moreover, devoutly entreat your venerable university, that you will endeavor to assist the aforesaid brother and his companion, whomsoever he shall make his associate about the said affairs, in their going and returning, resting and laboring, and that you will extend to those same poor and begging for his sake, and with him, and possessing nothing at all of their own. Given aught in the year of grace the 12th of Thef. In the history of the Antient abbeys, as well as in the second example from the history of the Order of St. Francis, coded language refers, for the good of the order, to communal ownership and control. None of them possess any other thing than one habit, with the cord and linen breeches, and possessing nothing at all of their own. It is the emphasis on the lack of personal interest in any further proceedings that may arise after the formulaic query that underlies formalized contemporary use of the phrase at the end of meetings. Unsurprisingly, in contemporary use, it is this sense of the phrase that is ordinarily lost or forgotten.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.